I was looking for a new job on Craigslist when I found an ad for a company looking for a content writer. The ad looked promising, and I applied for the job. A few days later, I received a response from the company. They said they were impressed with my skills and wanted to interview me. We agreed to meet the next day. The next day, I went to the interview. The company was located in an old building in a deserted part of town. When I arrived, there was no one in the building. I entered the building and began looking for someone. I soon found an open office. I entered the office and found a man sitting behind a desk. The man was old and had a frightening appearance. He was wearing black clothes and had long, black hair. He introduced himself as Mr. Smith and said he was the CEO of the company. He said he was impressed with my skills and wanted to hire me. Mr. Smith offered me a contract. I read the contract carefully and found it unusual. The contract said I would be under his control and would do whatever he asked me to do. I refused to sign the contract. Mr. Smith said he would not accept my refusal. He grabbed me by the arm and pushed me against the wall. Then he pulled out a knife and put it to my throat. He said he would kill me if I did not do what he asked me to do. I was very scared. I didn't know what to do. I agreed to sign the contract. I signed the contract and ran out of the building. I was running through the streets without knowing where to go. I was afraid that Mr. Smith would catch up with me. I ran until I reached my home. I entered the house and closed the door behind me. I felt safe at home. But I knew I wasn't safe yet. Mr. Smith wouldn't stop looking for me. I knew I needed to find a way to get rid of him. But how? I thought, and finally I came up with a plan. I went to the police and told them what happened. The police believed me and began an investigation into Mr. Smith. After a few weeks, the police arrested Mr. Smith. He was charged with kidnapping and murder. I was glad that Mr. Smith was arrested. But I knew I would never forget what happened. This incident was a terrifying experience for me. I learned from it that I should be careful when using sites like Craigslist. I should always make sure I know who I'm dealing with before I agree to anything. I hope you like the translation. Let me know if you have any other questions. At first, it was simple. I was searching for a car to buy, ready to venture into the world of used car buying and selling. My friend recommended Craigslist as the perfect place to find the car I was looking for. Indeed, I browsed the website and found a suitable car that met my needs at a reasonable price. It had all the qualities I wanted in my new car. I called the phone number listed in the ad and spoke with the owner. He was friendly in our conversation and expressed his willingness to arrange a meeting for me to inspect the car up close. The information about the car aligned with my requirements, and I was excited to see the car in person. I arrived at the address the owner had given me, and there was a beautiful white car in the driveway. Its size and shine immediately caught my attention. I decided to make this visit an opportunity to test everything about the car and check its condition before making a decision to purchase it. I noticed something strange as I approached the car. A peculiar feeling crept into my mind, as if something didn't quite match the familiar scene. Despite that, I chose to ignore these feelings and continued to inspect the car. I opened the door and sat in the driver's seat. The interior was clean and well maintained. But this strange feeling didn't leave me. It grew with each step I took inside the car. I had to sit for a moment to regain my balance. I decided to start the engine for a test. In an instant, the car roared with a loud and unusual noise. The engine's noise became alarming and unsettling. This wasn't the normal sound of a well-functioning car engine. Panic began to seep into my heart. As I tried to exit the car, I noticed something horrifying on the back seat. There were traces of a dark red color, and despite the difficulty of processing it, the truth started to become clear before me. This car might have been involved in a terrible accident, and the owner was hiding this from me. I was shocked and knew I had to leave this place immediately. Suddenly, things escalated. The doors slammed shut forcefully and unexpectedly, preventing me from getting out. I froze for moments, and suddenly, the owner approached me with a terrifying expression on his face. He held a knife between his hands, and my heartbeats accelerated. There's no escape. I came here to take what rightfully belongs to me, he whispered with a menacing voice. I tried to react quickly, but he was faster and stronger. I attempted to scream, but he pressed his hand over my mouth firmly, and I found myself drowning in strange blood and a nauseating smell. And as I gradually lost consciousness, the last word I heard was, "You'll be a part of me now." Then darkness engulfed me, isolating me from the outside world. I was looking for a room to rent on Craigslist when I found an ad for a room in an old house in a rural area. The ad looked promising, and I contacted the homeowner. After a few days, I met the homeowner. He was an old man and had a kind appearance. He said he was looking for someone to help him take care of his large house. I agreed to rent the room, and I moved into the house the next day. The house was big and dark. There was a lot of old furniture in the house, and the air was cold and damp. At first, things were fine. The homeowner was kind and generous. But he began to change in the following weeks. The homeowner began to ask me strange questions. He asked me about my personal life and family. I felt uncomfortable with the questions he was asking. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to anger the homeowner. One night, I woke up from a nightmare. It was a terrifying nightmare. In the nightmare, the homeowner was chasing me with a knife. I couldn't sleep after that. I was very scared. The next day, I decided to leave the house. I packed my things and left the house without telling the homeowner. I was walking in the woods when I heard a noise. It was the voice of the homeowner. He was calling me. I hid in the bushes. I saw the homeowner looking for me. He was holding a knife in his hand. I was very scared. I didn't know what to do. Finally, I decided to run away. I ran through the woods until I reached a road. I found a car parked on the side of the road. I got in the car and left the area. I never went back to that house again. I knew I was in danger. This incident was a terrifying experience for me. I learned from it that I should be careful when using sites like Craigslist. I should always make sure I know who I'm dealing with before I agree to anything. I hope you like the translation. Let me know if you have any other questions.